Welcome to Movie Recap. There is a very rare disease in the world which affects children. By the time they turn 10 or 15 years old, their body starts functioning almost like that of an elderly person. Wrinkles appear on their skin, eyesight becomes weak, and they become old. A boy affected by such a disease writes a novel about his life, and a movie is made based on that novel. We have brought a Korean emotional drama released in 2014 called My Brilliant Life. Spoilers ahead, subscribe, and take care. The movie begins with a 16-year-old boy called Ahrom typing something on his computer. His appearance doesn't match his age, and he tells us that he is turning his life story into a novel. The scene changes to the past. 17-year-old Dae-soo is stressed after his girlfriend Mira tells him that she is pregnant. He is worried and scared, saying his only father will beat him to death, and if word gets out, they might even be kicked out of school. But Mira tells him to quit being a coward and be strong. Mira's family is a big family with both her parents and 5 big brothers. The brothers have heard the news and are chasing Dae-soo all around the town. Mira, too, is not treated well by her father as he chases her around with a stick, despite her mother's support. Mira questions them what she did wrong since they had their first son when they were her age as well. They go silent, but it is not the same case at Dae-soo's house. His father slaps him hard, and Dae-soo, not able to take it anymore of his strictness, decides to leave home and has never returned since. Back to the present. Mira brings Ahrom his medicines and tells him to come down since Dae-soo has bought his favorite ice cream. The family eats together and they tune in to watch a documentary covering their family's story. In the documentary, Ahrom mentions that he has never been to school because of his condition, and if he gets well, he wishes to go to school. Dae-soo and Mira struggle to afford the treatment for Ahrom at a big hospital. The doctor explains that Ahrom's condition is rare, causing him to age 10 times faster than the average human. And since there is no cure, Ahrom only has at most 2 years to live. The documentary also covers Mira working at a laundry, and she shares her worries for Ahrom. Meanwhile, Dae-soo is a taxi driver, and Ahrom loves going on rides with him. The documentary comes to an end with Ahrom wishing that his parents are truly caring and loving. Sometimes he prays to God that their parents should have had a normal son so that they could be happy, and he worries that he might not be able to return their love in this life. The family watches the documentary, and the reason behind the documentary is because the producer of this show happens to be a classmate of Mira back in high school. Mira thanks the producers for helping them, and in the next scene, Dae-soo takes Ahrom along for his shift that day. The customers recognize him from the documentary, and some even take photos with him. The day goes normally, and they go to pick up Mira after work. The family loves to spend time together, and they eat outside. Ahrom joins Dae-soo to go buy some more food, and on their way back, Ahrom leaves alone to the toilet, but he is caught by some high school kids who ridicule him. Hearing the commotion, Dae-soo arrives to get his son back. However, while they leave, the kids badmouth Ahrom. Dae-soo cannot take it anymore and goes to fight the kids. Ahrom witnesses his father trained in Taekwondo beat up the kids by throwing them in the air, but sadly, this is all in Ahrom's imagination. In reality, Dae-soo is getting beaten by them and starts biting him. Then he gives a spinning kick. Unfortunately, he misses them and ends up kicking the policeman who came to stop the commotion. All of them are taken to the police station, and Dae-soo informs them how the boys teased his son. With Mira explaining their situation, they are let out. On their way back, Mira scolds Dae-soo for what he did. He immediately replies how he can stand by and watch while the kids tease their son in front of him. However, Mira joins in saying that he did not beat them up enough and stops saying that she will go back to beat them up. Dae-soo tries to stop her, and Ahrom smiles as he watches his parents running around. The next day, Mira takes Ahrom for his checkup, and the doctor mentions that the symptoms are not good. He was about to say that Ahrom doesn't have much time, but immediately stops and asks Ahrom to wait outside. Despite her son's interest in hearing everything, Mira tells him to wait outside. The doctor explains that Ahrom's condition is getting worse and he needs to be hospitalized as soon as possible. On their way back, a kid gets scared after seeing Ahrom and he feels bad and tells Mira to walk faster. But Mira stops him and cheers him, saying that he doesn't have to mind what others say about him since he will always be her lovely son. She also tells him that Even elders cannot handle treatments he is going through, and cheers him up saying he is really strong. It works, and they return home happily holding hands together. Back home, Aharom continues writing his novel. Suddenly he feels a pain and struggles to take his medicines and falls asleep on the floor. He wakes up after hearing a notification from his computer. He got an email from a girl named Lee Seo-ha. She writes that she is the same age as him and is in a similar situation like Aharom. After watching the show, she got his contact from the station and she wished him good luck for his future. Aharom feels different and all he thinks about is that email. He cannot sleep and goes to drink some water. Aharom hears his parents talking and Mira blames herself for Aharom being this way. She starts crying as she tells Dae-soo that she ran non-stop when she found herself pregnant and even prayed that she not give birth. Because of this, Aharom ended up this way. Dae-soo hugs and comforts her, saying that his mom worked harder than her when she had him in her belly. Aharom tears up hearing this conversation and walks back to his room. He thinks back to the conversation as he finishes the novel he was writing till now. The next morning, Aharom is sitting with his neighbor and tells him that he will be admitted to the hospital tomorrow. Aharom also consults him about the email he got from Lee Seo-ha and tells him that he doesn't know what to do. The neighbor tells him to do what he thinks and not bother anything else. The neighbor's father comes out and he leaves, but stops and asks Aharom if he will be treated along with kids or adults. Aharom is confused and he soon finds himself in a room full of kids running around at the hospital. Aharom hasn't been around many kids around his age due to his condition, and one of the kids even called him grandpa because of how he looks. Mira immediately closes the curtains around Aharom. That night, Aharom writes an email to Lee Seo-ha thanking her for wishing him good luck. In the morning, Aharom hesitantly opens his email account and smiles to see a reply from Lee Seo-ha. She thanks him for writing back and asks if they can continue writing mails to each other. Aharom too thanks her for writing to him and agrees to keep writing mails. That night she sends him a song and tells him that it will help him relax. Aharom smiles as he listens to the music and dreams of himself being a normal kid and enjoying his time in nature. Aharom wakes up hearing Mira and the producer talking about continuing with the show, but Mira doesn't want to. Aharom interrupts them, saying that he agrees to film more. Mira understands that Aharom only agreed to lessen the burden on his parents and wonders where Dae-soo had gone, since it is his day off. At this time, Dae-soo is struggling in his new bodyguard gig and he thanks his friend for giving him the job. The friend hands over the payment and tells Dae-soo that there will be more work to guard a girl idol group, and Dae-soo can't help but smile since it's his favorite girl group. He returns to the hospital with fruits and chicken, but the nurse reminds them that Aharom has to keep his stomach empty for the tests in the morning. Mira scolds Dae-soo for not noticing these things and heads outside. Dae-soo finds that the producers brought gifts the station received for Aharom after the show. A game console catches Dae-soo's eyes and he tells Aharom to play with it, and if he doesn't like it, then he wants to use it. Dae-soo then heads outside and hands over the money he got from the job to Mira, and she shows him their bank passbook. Dae-soo is shocked to find that someone donated $10 million after watching the documentary and wants to thank them. However, Mira tells him that the producers told that it is not necessary. The filming continues, and Aharom thanks the producer for giving his mail ID to Lee Seo-ha, but the producer denies doing so and tells him that he will scold his staff. Aharom stops him and tells him that it is thanks to that now he has got a friend. Aharom tells him not to tell anyone else about her, since she too might be sick like him. The producer tells him not to worry and leaves. That night, Aharom writes to Lee Seo-ha asking more about herself. She writes back saying that she lost her mother because of bone marrow infection and she too has got the same condition. She also says that she wants to be a writer, but her father wants her to be a doctor and has sacrificed a lot for her. Aharom writes back saying his parents too have sacrificed a lot for him. He also shares his love for writing and how started writing about his parents' love story. It turns out the boy we saw in the forest was Dae-soo, and he liked swimming in the river, training to be an athlete. His mom wanted to be a singer, and one day when she wandered into the forest, they met and fell in love. The next day, Dae-soo is at the new gig as a bodyguard for the girl group he likes. He introduces himself to the group, and the idols are shocked to find that he has a 16-year-old son. As they continue with their schedule, Aharom and Mira see him on TV. Mira cannot help but think how she wished to be a singer like them, and Aharom takes a picture of her at that time and edits her like an angel. The following day, the producer arrives to meet Aharom and asks him for Lee Seo-ha's contact details since he would like to have the next episode cover their friendship. Aharom doesn't like it since he asked him to keep it a secret and says she would not agree to it. During the next filming, Arum faces trouble talking, and since the neighbor arrived there that day, they have an interview with him instead. Sometime later, the doctors arrive to check on him and scolds Arum for using his iPad. He reminds the parents that he needs to stop using them since it will only damage his eyes further. Arum asks what he is supposed to do, simply lying there, and the doctor tells him to focus on getting well and leaves. That evening, Arum writes to Lee Seo-ha, asking for her photo since the doctor said that he might lose his eyesight. Seo-ha writes back late at night and tells him that it is not okay since she knew his family looked, but it wouldn't be fair for him to not know about her. Arum opens the image attached and sees a picture of a hand. He imagines them being normal and walking around in the forest. In the next scene, Aharom is worried since it has been 10 days since the last mail he got from Seo-ha, and he feels bad thinking something might have happened to her. The doctor comes to check up on him, and Mira asks him why they have changed his medication. The doctor says that with his condition, they need to increase the dosage. Aharom interrupts him, asking how long he's got. The doctor tells him to focus on getting well, but Aharom says that he cannot hope for that day to come, and asks the doctor to be honest with him since he cannot understand what it feels like to be in his position. Hearing this, the doctor asks if he really wishes to know, and hearing Aharom say yes, the doctor reveals he's only got a month or two at most. In the next scene, Aharom and the neighbor are chatting as always, and he asks the neighbor to bring him some alcohol before it's too late. But the neighbor scolds him for even thinking about it and leaves. That night, Aharom has trouble sleeping and goes out hearing the producer call out for Mira. The producer tells Mira that Lee Seo-ha turned out to be some wannabe writer who was writing a screenplay about a love story between a sick boy and a sick girl. Mira gets furious to hear this and asks whether he complained to the police. The producer says nothing can be done and says to Mira to keep it a secret and that he will inform Aharom that Lee Seo-ha went to America for her treatment. However, Aharom hears everything outside and he gets heartbroken. The following day, Aharom refuses to eat and keeps playing the game. Mira and Dae-soo try to force him to stop playing. However, Aharom talks back saying that he will die soon anyways. So why does he have to eat? Since he always does what they tell him, he wants to do things he wants to do before he goes away. Mira and Dae-soo cannot think of anything to say to him. Mira finds Dae-soo crying outside and she tries comforting him as she tries hard to hold back her tears. That afternoon, Dae-soo leaves for work, but Aharom insists on joining him since he wants to go to the park. On their way, Aharom tells us that he wrote a final email to Seo-ha, bidding his goodbye. At the park, Aharom starts running and starts crying profusely. Dae-soo asks what's wrong, and Aharom tells him that he is happy. Dae-soo hugs him tight and says it's all right. Sometime later, the father and son lie down on the grass to watch the starry sky. They tell each other how lucky they are to have each other, but unfortunately Aharom's eyesight goes blurry and gets dark. As Dae-soo tells him that they can go back now, Aharom informs him that he cannot see anything. Dae-soo immediately rushes ABC to the hospital carrying Aharom on his back. The doctor arrives to tell the parents that Aharom will be sleeping for a while. They ask how Aharom could go blind, and the doctor explains that Aharom might have been stressed, and that has caused his nerves under pressure, leading to this, and asks the parents if anything had happened recently that put him to stress. In the next scene, Dae-soo confronts the producer about Lee Seo-ha and asks where the person is. Dae-soo reaches the place and finds a bunch of scripts and pictures of Aharom in the room. When the guy comes asking who it is, Dae-soo confronts him for what he did to his son. As he beats him, Dae-soo notices that the guy has crippled leg and not beats him anymore. After this, the guy apologizes to Dae-soo for what he did and tells him that he only did so because he had no other way to finish his script. Dae-soo tells the guy that Aharom is smart and he too is a better writer than him. Saying this, Dae-soo hands over a poem that Aharom wrote about him way back and asks the guy to read it. In the next scene, Dae-soo drives to his father's house after all these years. The father is speechless to see his son and lets him inside. Dae-soo looks around and finds the news article about Aharom and his bank account number near it. He realizes that the big donation must have come from his father. Dae-soo cannot help but cry after this realization and apologizes to him for everything. His father tells him that he has indeed grown up well, and after he saw the show, he found that he needs to do his part as well, and that Dae-soo has been a good father too. Dae-soo cries hearing this, and as he heads back, his father gives him a hat saying that it is for his grandson. Dae-soo leaves after promising to return with Mira soon. Dae-soo returns to the hospital and takes Mira to eat something. She tells him that they must stop working and spend all their time with Aharom since she can feel that he is going to go away soon. Saying this, she cannot stop herself from crying as Dae-soo tells her to be strong. The next day, Mira reads a story to Aharom, and feeling his mom getting emotional, Aharom talks to cheer her up. At this time, the neighbor arrives, and only then he finds out that the boy has lost his sight. He takes Aharom out on the wheelchair, and Aharom apologizes for making him take care of him, since it must be the other way around. The neighbor says it is good exercise for him to walk, and they go on to chat like they always do. The neighbor opens his bag and takes Aharom's hand to show him that he brought the alcohol like he wanted, and pours him a little for taste. Aharom takes a sip and tells him that his father used to say that alcohol tastes better when he listens to songs and asks the neighbor to sing. Despite the ridiculous requests, the neighbor sings for Aharom. As he listens to the song and sips his first drink of alcohol, the first snow falls, and the neighbor takes him inside. The next day, Desu and Mira sit beside Aharom and wish him a Merry Christmas after he wakes up. Desu reads out his bank balance and asks Aharom what he wants for Christmas. However, Aharom wishes that they take him to the place where they play the bell for New Year, but they say they will go some other time since the place is always crowded. Aharom says this is what they always say and asks them to fulfill his last wish. Aharom also asks Desu to print a file from his iPad named Cosmos, as he asks his father not to read it no matter what. Aharom asks Desu to promise this, and if he breaks it, he will become a ghost and haunt him forever. Desu promises him and goes to print the file, and at this time he notices the mails he wrote to Seoha. Desu reads them and gets teary after reading what he wrote about Desu and Mira. He brings the printed file for Aharom and tells him that he got a reply from Seoha. Aharom tells him to read it, and Desu tells on his own to cheer him up. He doesn't know that Aharom knows the truth, and after he finishes, Aharom tells him to read it again. Surprised to hear this, Desu heads out saying he got a phone call. Desu returns after writing it down and wants to read it, but Aharom says that he wants to write a reply. Aharom starts by saying how his mom loved to film him while his father tried hard trying to play peekaboo, and he recounts everything their parents went through to raise him when everyone else around their age were living normal lives. Aharom finishes by saying that even if he wishes, he cannot write back anymore and asks not to forget him after he's gone. Desu is not writing and crying the whole time, listening to his son say everything. Despite not being able to see, Aharom tells us that he knows that his father is crying his heart out right now. In the next scene, Desu convinces the doctor to take Aharom outside. The doctor refuses since it is harmful for Aharom, but Desu clearly states that it is his son's last wish and he wishes for the family to be together at this time. The doctor finally agrees and sends them off, saying Aharom to be careful. They are stuck in the traffic and Aharom lies down on Mira's lap. He touches her belly and says them to convey his wishes for his baby brother. Mira is shocked to hear this, and Aharom reveals that he saw the pregnancy medication in her bag one day, and on the night with his father watching the stars, he wished for his baby brother to have a healthy life. Mira apologizes, saying she did not want to hide it from him, and starts crying. Aharom tells her that he has a gift for her and asks her to take the file from her bag. He tells her that he wanted to present it to them on his 17th birthday, but given the circumstance, he wants to give it to them as the New Year's present. Aharom asks Mira to read it as he wants to listen to her. The novel starts describing the past when Desu prayed to God to send him his girlfriend soon, and he jumped into the river. And at that time, Mira walking into the forest takes a different turn and ends up falling near a beehive. Being chased, she runs around and ends up jumping in the river where Desu was, and that's how they met. For Desu, it felt like the gods had answered his prayers and they soon fell in love. Mira continues to read as she also cries, and as she finishes it, they both feel happy. But unfortunately, Mira finds Aharom not answering, and as Mira calls out to him, Desu understands that their son is no more. As everyone celebrates the new year, Mira calls out to Aharom to listen to the bells and asks him to wake up, but they know that they have lost their son. The scene changes to the time they were filming the documentary. Aharom shares the poem he wrote for his father, and with the filming done, the family walks back together. Aharom turns to wave his hand and bids his farewell to everyone, and the movie ends there. Oh my God. I definitely am not crying right now. And if you are feeling the same as me right now, comment down below. I want to talk more about this movie with you, so please comment now, and please like and subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, this is your host for Movie Recap, signing off.